to be introduced by Sharon Strange. And for those of you who are not already familiar with her work, I don't have to explain to you why you might want to get busy and have a look at the work that she has been producing. Um, Sharon is an extraordinary poet, but she also regularly collaborates with visual artists and sound artists, music artists. So look for her if you have not been familiar. So I am very happy to have 5 poets here in this always exciting moment when poets speak back to other artists. And I'm going to introduce them to you in a moment, but I would just briefly like to make sure that we're saying thank you to all of the people who make it possible for the arts to take place broadly in Atlanta, and also are responsible for our ability to bring these artists here today. So let me get busy doing that. And so I want to thank all of the people who work with the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs. That, of course, is Camille Love and Emily Fisher, Karen Hatchett in Public Relations. I want to thank Elevate, all of the array of corporate and public support organizations and partners. Kevin Sipp, who has been busy this whole morning doing his job, Cultural Affairs Public Art Coordinator, and I also want to include in that the Chastain Gallery staff, especially Alma Caudry. She's not here today, but she's been here throughout this process helping us to organize. I want to also thank Amanda Sorensen and her staff of Think and Ink, and they are working with the artists in terms of making sure that everyone gets taken care of. I now want to I don't need to say any more about Deanna Serlin given the beautiful remarks of Sharon, but I do want to thank her, not only because she's a brilliant artist, she works locally, but her work is known and collected around the world, around the city, I should say, and around the world. But she's also the editor of the art section, and the Wavelength Poetry event will be published on the art section. So for those of your friends who meant to be here and could not make it, please remind them that the work will be available later. The beauty of the virtual space, I am always reminded, is that it creates for us audiences that we can't achieve locally. And so the art section has an international readership. And so when we play something in the art section, you gain some viewers from places that would be surprising. And now to the main thing. I'd like to, first of all, apologize and say that these are not full, obviously, biographies of the poets. I have tried to cull their work down to a couple of sentences each so that we can get to them. And so I know I'm forgiven for that because that just makes sense. I'd like to introduce Dr. Melba Joyce Boyd. She's sitting right here. She's a native Detroiter, but she is hardwired by blood to Atlanta, and the audience here is going to prove that. She is an author, filmmaker, educator, and distinguished professor at Wayne State University. In addition, Melba has published widely in poetry and prose nonfiction, including critical biographies of African American figures who were crucial in the shaping of contemporary American poetry and letters. Charlene McClure is a Fulbright scholar. Here, Charlene. Don't let her youthful look fool you. She is a Vona Fellow and recipient of the Rona Jaffe Foundation Writers Award. Her work has been published in Kinfolks Quarterly, The Poetry Project, and The Offing. She's also a rising filmmaker. Andrea Jurjevich is the author of 2 award-winning poetry collections, In Another Country, and Small Crimes. Andrea is native to Rijeka, Croatia. Her work has appeared or is forthcoming in The Believer, Tri-Quarterly, the Missouri Review, and elsewhere. She is on faculty at Georgia State University. E. Hughes, E, is a Cave Canem Fellow and a PhD student in philosophy at Emory. E, whose pronouns are they and their, received their MFA and MA from the Litowitz Creative Writing Program at Northwestern University. Their poems have been published or are forthcoming in Guernica Magazine, Poet Lore, The Offing, Chicago Quarterly Review, and elsewhere. Sharif Simmons, right up there, is a performance artist, author, songwriter, musician, poet, and arts educator. Simmons emerged during New York's cultural renaissance in the 1990s, appearing regularly at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, the Cooler, CBGB's, Brooklyn Moon Cafe, Joe's Pub, you know, all the cool places. Sharif has toured Europe in performance. He has 2 collections of poems, Fast Cities and Objects That Burn, and Clearly Spoken, Spoken Clearly. And now you will not see me again until the end of program. When you see me again, you'll know that we're 5 minutes from letting you go wherever you have to go next. But I will close the program with a poem that I'm contributing to the Wavelength Collection. So without further ado, Melba Joyce Boyd.